Afternoon, everyone. I'm Terry O'Brien, and I'm the chair of the Sierra Nevada Conservancy Board. On behalf of the Conservancy and the governing board, and would members of the governing board who are here please raise your hands? I would like to thank you for all being here today for the 4th annual Sierra Nevada Watershed Improvement Summit. To accommodate the high level of interest in this year's summit, we are broadcasting the event live online, and I would like to welcome all of those who have chosen to participate virtually today as well. This year's theme, taking a regional approach to implementing California's climate goals, is focused on the health of our Sierra Nevada forests and the role that they play in helping California meet its climate goals. This is a timely and critically important topic. After the devastating fire season California experienced last year, there are numerous discussions taking place regarding how to address forest health, reduce the risk for large devastating fires, and to improve the carbon storage abilities of our forests. I hope at the end of today's program that everyone will leave with a greater sense of urgency about the need to work collaboratively to address the challenges facing the Sierra Nevada's forests. Now it is my pleasure to ask Jim Branham, the Sierra Nevada Conservancy's Executive Officer, to provide a brief overview of this afternoon's session. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. We do have I think some interesting topics to explore and discuss a little further with each other and with all of you today. I'm really pleased with the folks who joined us. I think if it's appropriate, we'll just go around quickly and let the folks up here introduce themselves and who they represent, so you all out there know who we are up here. We're going to start with Supervisor Hanfield.
I'm Randy Hanfield, Supervisor District 2 in Tuolumne County and the Vice Chair of the RCRC organization.
Hi, I'm Esty Stiefel. I'm the Central California District Manager for the Bureau of Land Management.
This is on. Borrow yours. Hi, I'm Woody Smack. I'm the Superintendent of Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, and I'm with the National Park Service.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Ken Pimlott, the Director of CAL FIRE and the State Forester for California.
Good afternoon. I'm Barnie Gyant, Deputy Regional Forester for the Forest Service.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ashley Conrad-Seda, Deputy Secretary for Climate Policy at the California Environmental Protection Agency.
And Patrick Wright, Director of the California Tahoe Conservancy.
Don Hankins, California Indian Water Commission.
Kaylee E. Bright with the Natural Resources Agency, Deputy for Climate and Energy, and sitting in for Secretary Laird.
All right, thanks everyone. So we'll have some presentations that talk a little bit about kind of the accomplishments of the Watershed Improvement Program, how it's playing out on the ground. We'll talk hear a little bit about the science, kind of the state of the science and where we're going from here. We'll hear from our state partners about how the Watershed Improvement Program plays a role in some of the state policy objectives and so on. And I just would echo what the chair said. We are seeing a lot of attention around these issues. This is our 4th summit, so we'd like to think that we've contributed to folks paying a little bit more attention. We did a State of the Sierra Forest report after, really on the heels of the King Fire. We did one a couple of years later that was State of the Sierra Forest from bad to worse. The communications team informed me that worser is not a word. So we decided to talk about the roles of forest as either climate heroes or villains at this particular session. So that'll play out through the course of the afternoon as we hear from folks and have some interaction. With that, I'd like to introduce our primary partner in the Watershed Improvement Program, Deputy Regional Forester Barnie Gyant. Barnie serves as the Forest Service representative on our board and has been really the key in the interaction that we've had with the Forest Service under the Watershed Improvement Program. So would like to offer a couple of moments to you, Barnie.
So Jim, thanks for that, and I appreciate you sharing your office with me with the Sierra Nevadas. But you need to share some more issues with me, but that's okay. So when you think about the national forest, when you look at the land base that we manage in the state, particularly with the Sierra Nevadas are going to are a huge carbon sink for us, and they'll play a vital role in how we move together here in the state with our carbon goals. But I can tell you that our forests are really unhealthy. You think about the drought, the bark beetle, the fires, and we still have a need of treating about 500,000 acres a year. We said it in our leaders' intent in 2011. We haven't departed from that. That still will be a vital thing for us to be able to do as we play a vital role. But we still have a sense of urgency. And so without a coordinated effort, we're not going to get there. And so this morning I took an opportunity to just kind of go back in time just a little bit. And so if you guys are suffering from, as I call it, selective amnesia, I'll help you just a little bit. So here we go. And I'm going to start with 2017. I'm going to go back in time. So the Thomas Fire, 281,000 acres, 1,063 structures, 2 fatalities. The Tubbs Fire, 63,000 acres, 36,000. 5,600 structures, 22 fatalities. The Lilac Fire, 4,100, 157 structures. Detweiler in 2017, 81,000 acres, 131 structures. The Loma Fire, right at 4,500 acres in 2016, 28 structures. The Blue Cut Fire, 36,000 acres in 2016, 105 homes lost. The Chimney Fire, 46,000 acres in 2016, 68 structures. Sobranas, 132,000 acres in 16, 57 homes, 1 fatality. The Valley Fire, 76,000, 1,955 structures, 4 fatalities. The Butte Fire, 2015, 70,000 acres, 818 structures, 2 fatalities. The Bowles Fire, 516 acres, 2014, 157 structures. And for those of you that are a little bit younger, the King Fire, 97,000 in 2014, 80 structures. The Happy Camp Complex in the Northwest, 134,000, 6 structures. The Clover Fire, 8,000 in 2013, 68 homes, 1 fatality. The Rim Fire, 257,000 in 2013, 112. The Rush Fire, 2,071 in 2012. The Springs Fire, 28,000 in 2013. The Powerhouse, 30,000 in 2013, 24 structures. That's not all of them. I got tired of writing. So when I talk about the need for urgency, those are just some examples of the work, or not the work, but the devastation that occurred on our landscape. And so when I was thinking, I was looking back to probably about 2012 when the drought started. We really didn't see the indications, but as the years went on, our fires got larger and they got more and more severe. Right now, when we mentioned about needing help, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but about 50% of our budget goes to fire suppression in the agency. And so as the suppression costs go up, that means less and less resources for other work that we need to happen on the landscape. Now, our partnership with the Sierra Nevadas just didn't start within the last 4 years. It's been going on for a long time, and I'd say that for us, our partnership with Sierra Nevada Conservancy, along with CAL FIRE, are our biggest partnerships that we have in the region. So one of the things that we're doing with the WIP, with the Watershed Improvement Program, we're looking at really identifying what are those restoration needs that need to occur on all of our units in the Sierra Nevada. So that's a work in progress. But what we want to do is identify where do we need to thin, where do we need to prescribe burn, where do we need to do meta restoration, where do we have areas for maybe aquatic organism passage and abandoned mines. And so we're working really jointly together to see about coming up with a map that identifies the acres and locations for that vital work that needs to happen. And we're trying new things. One example is the Tahoe Central Sierra Initiative. Ellie Alano, the forest supervisor from the Tahoe, is going to come up a little later and talk a little bit more in depth about that. Not only that, but we're looking at and working really closely with CAL FIRE, with the Good Neighbor Authority. Commissioner Hanvelt there is, we got a master stewardship agreement with Tuolumne County. For us is that we're looking for all the different resources and all the help that we have, because the problems that we have in the state, they're all of our problems. They're not just national forest issues. They're not just national forests. Pay attention to this. They're Californians' forests. They're not just national forests, they're Californians forests. And it's in all of our best interests that we work together. I think, you know, with the WIP program, I think we have some opportunities to help look at policies, bring more resources to bear, and also maybe take a look at how do we expand wood processing infrastructure in the state, which is going to be vital. You know, and so for me, as I think about the work that we do with the Conservancy, I'm excited about the Watershed Improvement Program. I think that's going to give us an opportunity to really look at how do we all together look at pooling our resources together, identify some key landscapes on the landscape, and we go about making a difference here in the state. So, so Jim and Secretary Laird and Terry, I want to say thank you for just giving me an opportunity just to speak today. But the work we do together is vital, particularly if we're going to make a difference in the Sierra Nevadas and in the region.
Thank you, Barney. As most of you know, John Laird was the driving force and co-author of the legislation that created the Sierra Nevada Conservancy when he was a member of the State Assembly. And as the Secretary of the California Natural Resources Agency, he signed the MOU with the Forest Service initiating the Watershed Improvement Program. And I think it's literally true that without John Laird, we would not be sitting here today. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Secretary John Laird.
Thank you. It's pretty hard to go up from there. So I appreciate that introduction. I really appreciate that you're all here. And we had high hopes that we were going to get the governor here today, but a rather sudden visit by the U.S. Attorney General has kind of blown up his schedule today. And he is representing all of us very well today. So I will try to channel him. Because I think in just a couple of minutes, what I really want to do is sort of set a little bit of the context that we have for this discussion. And it's not as if the three previous conferences haven't said it very well. But what's happening is, is there's just this convergence of so many things right at the same time. Of course, after last year, we thought we'd come out of the drought. And now we have at least 20 million more dead trees when we still have the issue and the issues of what came out of the 4-year drought to deal with. And it is right in front of us and a challenge. Last year, the state decided that we were going to recognize in our budget process for firefighting a new normal. And rather than actually have to dip into funds and start late and end early, we were going to recognize that the fire season over the last generation has expanded by roughly a month at the beginning and a month at the end. And so we now align the state budget so that it matches that expectation and it's not considered an exception to do it. We are on the verge of issuing the first forest carbon plan, which really is sort of a direction and deals with some of the very questions that you're going to be talking about today and gives a state path and a state direction for how to think about the forests in terms of climate and carbon sequestration. And the governor has, particularly in the last year, has actually put the pedal to the metal even more on everything he's doing on climate. It is up the ante on every goal, but for working lands, which is a key part of the scoping plan that's being developed, it is sort of new. Whether it was a renewables goal or a tailpipe goal or lowering emissions under AB 32, everything was in place and it was sort of moving that goal a little bit higher. We are establishing and quantifying the natural and working land goals to incorporate them into what we're doing. And that has been an important part of everything. And then the cap and trade program was renewed last year. which gives us a place to try to go for help on some of these issues over time, and both in terms of climate and in terms of just linking the two and supporting it financially, and that is a big help. And it sort of matches the leadership of the Sierra Conservancy and the Watershed Improvement Program, because I am sure at times in my conversations with people at the Conservancy that it is frustrating. They feel like they're really rolling the rock up the hill. But what's happened is, it's the leadership I always dreamed of, is really look at the watersheds, look at the changing climate, look at the forests, and try to figure out how we are going to focus from many different places, resources, energy, and attention to deal with watershed improvement. And the one thing that got mentioned a couple of times that I think changes this year is that the fires in Ventura and Santa Barbara, in Sonoma and Napa, and in other places have caused people from outside the Sierra to focus on this in ways that they might not have thought about even a year ago right now. And so we have the opportunity to take the energy of all these efforts with the spotlight on it that people are seeing at across the state and make a big difference. And sometimes it's very convenient to think that we'll wait for some leader to do it, or we'll wait for some budget appropriation or whatever. And this is to the point that everybody just has to push in every way, in every venue, in every connection, in everything they've got to keep this front and center, to focus people on it, to move resources on it, and to really change the debate statewide. Don't leave it to somebody else to write that op-ed or to talk about what you're seeing in the moment or what you saw in the difference with the watershed restoration program. It is really take it and run with it. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you all focus on that. But I'm excited you're here on this, and I'm counting on you to make a big difference. So good luck today in your deliberations, and I'm really glad you're having this meeting.